Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Two Perfect Podcasts. My name is Yzel.
My name is Renz.
And we're not perfect.
Two Perfect Podcasts is dedicated to three things.
First, we are dedicated to sharing super personal stories and owning our imperfection.
Second, we want to create a safe space where we could be our most authentic selves.
And third, we want to build a community for people like us who are fed up with the pressure of trying to be perfect. And before we get started on this episode, please make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell if you're on YouTube so you can get notifications. We release episodes every Tuesday on YouTube. They're just small snippets. On Saturday, they're the long full-length episode, but we do still release our podcast every Tuesday on every podcast streaming platform. Also, if you like the content of this episode, feel free to share it with your friends and family. You know what?
We have something.
I remember I was talking to Brian about this.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there and he made a comment. He said, "You look very serious." And that's a comment that I hear a lot because I walk around with
That face.
an RBF. And if you're not familiar, which you probably are familiar with the term RBF, resting bitch face. And if you see my family, we all look like this. It is just in our genetics. It is really quite a funny spectacle to see my family walking down the street because we just look like
RBF crew.
We've all just had the worst days of our lives and we're all very angry about it and we just had a fight. And it just is so funny. I think I remember once seeing my sister and like my aunts and stuff like walking and I couldn't help but laugh because they just look so angry. But they're not.
Yeah, it's just having a regular ass day.
It's just in our DNA. But I made that comment and then I was thinking like, what is that about?
Mm-hmm.
What is that commentary really about?
Mm-hmm.
When you tell somebody, you look very serious.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear that, I never really comment. Anytime someone comments on my appearance, I don't really comment back.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, this is what I look like.
Okay.
What do you want me to do? Because what is that comment really about? It's like, okay, and what?
Yeah.
I look like this. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say with that? Right?
I know. Maybe subconsciously it's like because women are expected to be pleasant to look at. Like, when you get like that cat call or like smile a little,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But that seems like kind of a logical assumption to make. Mm-hmm. Is it because my appearance does not coincide with what you believe women should look like or people should look like? Like, should everybody be walking around with a fucking smile on their face?
Because it's like, do guys get that? Like, do guys get asked, like, why do you look so serious?
Yeah, because that is different from, like, why do you look so down? You know what I mean? It's like, why do you look so down? Why do you look so upset? Or, that is more of a different feel.
Yeah.
At least to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. What the hell is that about? Because my face is not here to serve for your aesthetic pleasure.
Yeah.
And that is the topic of today's episode. That's why I was actually bringing up, like, talking about body image and just the image we have of ourselves. Because I still think it's incredible that we actually don't know what we look like.
Yeah.
We don't know what we look like.
Yeah.
I know what you look like because I'm looking at you, but you don't know what you look like.
No.
You can look at the camera and see yourself and the mirror, but that is a reflection of you.
Yeah.
And that distorts what you actually look like.
Mm-hmm. And everything is not 100%. You know? Like, what you see isn't real all the time.
I have been having this really weird thought in my head that actually one of my roommates in college, she asked me this question, and that was the first time I heard it, and I was like, that is so interesting. But I've been having the same question asked to myself, me to me. Like, sometimes I'll see someone and I'll wonder, do I kind of look like that? Like, in terms of, like, body type, you know, or even face. I will see maybe, like, a picture or a video, or I'll see someone in real life and be like, is that what I look like? Or do I look more like that? Or do I look like that? Or what is it, you know, what is it that I look like? And I remember one of my roommates in college said that we were at a pool party, and this girl was walking around in her bathing suit, and my roommate comes to me and she's like, do I look like that girl? Like, her body. Like, does my body look like that? And I was like, no, not really. Like, you're a bit thinner, and like, like, she was asking for details. Yeah. And I don't know if it was because maybe she was feeling insecure. You know, we're all in bathing suits. Yeah. So I don't know if she was maybe feeling a little bit insecure with how she was looking, but I don't know, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. I remember back in high school.
It's gonna be good.
Nah, it's not that good. Oh, but I mean, I don't know. You tell me. But I remember being mind blown too, because like I'm small. And Debbie is also small. And I thought we were like generally like similar, because she also, like, you know, we called each other twins and stuff like that. So I don't know why, I just assumed like we were generally similar in body shape and form. And then you were one of the ones who told me, it's like, oh, Debbie is a lot more like skinnier, and this is like the areas where you guys are different. And it like blew my mind.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't even really remember like what conversation we were talking about. Yeah. But you were like, you told me the difference between me and Debbie, and it like blew my mind.
Why did it blow your mind?
I don't know. I guess it was just like, again, I don't know how we look like from each other. I mean, not like face, obviously, I don't think we look alike, but I just genuinely believe maybe it's just all like that conditioning of like, we normally share the same clothes, and you know, we call each other twins, that I thought we were like really, really similar, to the point like, I don't know, I convinced myself we're the same, that the point where you made those, when you told me the differences, my brain was just like, you're right. You're right.
You know, I was a real crude ass bitch in high school. To be honest, I would say I was fairly blunt. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Even to this point, I would still say I'm a bit blunt. Yeah. Not as much as I used to be. Yeah. Would you agree with that? Or still the same, or very different, or what do you think? What's your take on that, actually?
I think it's less. I think you definitely like filter yourself more now. It's more like, it wasn't I don't even remember it being unwelcomed. It was just like facts, you know?
That is the way that I spoke, though. Yeah. Like, I actually... this is where it's coming from, too. Why I'm saying that is because I was watching a video, and you may remember me doing this, because we always had our camera in the era of not having smartphones. Yeah. Because we're old. And so we had a separate camera around, plus like our actual phone. Yeah. And
back in the olden days.
I found the video of us in high school walking to class, and I just did a little snippet of a video. And I, like, you made a face, and I was like, dude, you look homeless. Like, I was saying it as, like, a joke, like, but also factual, but, like, it just perfectly showcased the type of bitch that I was. You were. But it was like, I felt like people took me for me, because it's like, oh, it's just Yzel. Like, she's just crude like that.
She's clowning around.
She's real, and she's a clown. And so we're gonna accept whatever the fuck she's gonna say. Yeah. And I remember watching that video, and I remember being like, damn, I'm a fucking crude bitch. Like, did I have to choose those words? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I guess so. Because I do remember I also was, like, looking at my old videos and stuff like that, and you're just saying I was reading, like a note you wrote to me, and you're
Here we go. We're gonna get real right now, baby.
I just don't even remember what you said. I'm just like, why is she saying these things? But again, it's as you said, I think we're just so used to letting people. We let people be the way they are. So we're just like, oh, that's just who she is. It's fine. And she's joking. It's in an endearing way. Because I don't remember, like, getting hurt because I'm like, yeah, I'm a hobo. I probably have said that too.
Yeah. And no one ever, because we're kids at the end of the day at that point in time. So we were not really policing or correcting per se. This isn't like now in this era, I feel like you don't really see that as often, or you may see a decrease in that type of behavior because, you have the politically correct army, you have the cancel culture, just like watching for those little things like, oh, you can't say that, you can't do that. But we were definitely in that era of, like you say, and do whatever the fuck you want, and people just dealt with it, and I fucking ran with that. Yeah. And that's the point of this episode.
I know, right?
But I could not, like, I saw that video and I was like, what a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, like, that's kind of rude. But, yeah, man, I can't believe... I can believe it, but I can't believe the limits that I test people in. I feel like there has always been that level of testing people. I actually read a post on Instagram of like what people with abandonment issues do. Yeah. And
what was it?
It checks off. Like, I was like, check. This shit is me, okay? But one of the slides was like, they will do drastic things to test people of their loyalty to them because they want to see if they're going to be abandoned again, and if they find anybody that is flighty, they're just going to step back. Yeah, because they are not going to put themselves in a position where they're going to be abandoned again. Yeah. And I read that and I was like, shit. You could have wrote my name on there, okay? Like, I get it.
Why are you reading me?
I know, but I think that is a big reason why I was so blunt and so crude, and I would say things that I felt people were scared to say because they're just fucking rude, like to say things like that. It's like, that is kind of a rude. I remember actually Mr. Chow would check me sometimes. Yeah. He would tell me like, Yzel, that's kind of rude. And I would be like, and because no one in my life tells me that, I would be like...
It takes you aback.
I'd be like, what? Was that rude? And then I would question myself because I was so used to behaving that way, I couldn't see what I was doing.
Yeah. It's hard because the rest of the people that you hung out with are so used to that environment.
Exactly. Yeah. Growing up in a very like...
Yeah, that's just like the comments I hear from my mom. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, it's normal. I took that as like, yeah, I probably do look like a hobo to me.
Yeah, you take it as love too.
It's endearing.
Yeah, because
I am a hobo.
Because you think like, oh, this person's being real with me. They must love me because that's what my family does too.
Yeah, which is true because that's also true. You did love me, so it's not just like, you're a hobo bitch.
You're a hobo bitch, get away from me. Go stand in the corner, bitch. Get out of the vicinity, okay? We ain't got no money for you. Go over there. Like, damn, bitch. But, the actuality of it, the jokes I just made right now, I probably would have said that shit. Like, because that's the shit I did. That's the shit I did. I fucking ran with it. I would make a joke. I would find a fault, or I would find something funny, quote unquote,
if you guys are not seeing it.
Yeah. And I would make a joke about it, and then I would keep digging and digging and digging, and like what I just said, that's the way I would have made jokes about people. Yeah. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, because I don't know what it would have been like had I faced someone like me. Yeah. Because nobody really talked to me like that. Yeah. I can't remember any one of our friends to say or make jokes like that about me, right? At least not off the top of my head.
Not off the top of my head either.
Because there wasn't.
Because everyone's different. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Everyone was like different off of the way they come off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I remember. Do you remember Freddie?
Mm-hmm.
I remember him not liking me because of my personality. I remember we had geometry together.
Yeah.
This was when I was moved back to Miss Bake's class because you know, whatever. And we were sitting at the same table, and he said something that I was like, "Oh, he doesn't like me." Huh.
Yeah.
I've never had this experience before. Yeah, because no one has ever been vocal about their disdain for me.
Yeah.
Maybe like once in my life, this one girl. But that, yeah, I was like, those were moments where I really
It hit you.
put into perspective of like what's going on with me right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I could see why. I don't blame him. I don't know if I would have liked me either. Shit. I would have roasted me the fuck back. I don't know.
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. It's really interesting how much.
But I love
all changed.
I love my siblings. Like they roasted the fuck, which is where I got that personality. Is like as you said, like your mom made those comments or made similar types of comments to you. Same thing in my household. So maybe I wouldn't have been put off by it. Maybe I did receive it and I just didn't notice because it's so normal.
Yeah. Because I remember that's also like a conversation I had with Jackie where it's just like his friends were like roasting him and then I was like roasting him too and he was just like,
oh, he did not like that.
He did not like it and I was just like taken aback because I was just like, oh my God, like that was obviously coming from a place of love. And he was just like, would someone I love call me that? Also, I called him a hobo.
Bitch, I used to call you that shit all the time.
No, maybe that's the reason. One of the reasons. But commonalities. I don't know. Because
you know what I mean? But like, if you were showing up with, you know, fucking hobo clothes, I'm going to call it how I see it.
Yeah. It wasn't even just like his appearance. It was just like a joke.
Oh, okay.
It was a joke. And obviously it's not a joke. I'm not right. I'm obviously wrong, you guys. I'm so sorry. Like, but
shout out to Jackie. What's up?
But my messed up brain, like, thought it's okay. You know, like, that was an introspective moment for me where I'm like, shit, like, that's not right. You gotta change. So, ever since then, I really try not to just clown on people for love.
Well, it's not right for Jackie.
Yeah.
In a lot of other spaces, that type of stuff is totally okay.
Yeah.
And love can still exist.
Yeah.
And that's the interesting part.
Yeah.
Because the interesting part is that you really adapt to what your environment is. And otherwise, you're not going to be in that environment. You're going to find a different one.
Yeah.
And same thing, you know, with my ex, especially coming from being that crude ass bitch in high school all the way. And like, I was kind of the same in college.
Of course, because that's literally the same person.
Yeah. And then having to adapt because the person that I was with, they didn't want to be treated that way.
Yeah.
You know, and so, yeah, I definitely have simmered down a lot.
It's also really, like, interesting because, like, you know, when I was, like, reading that, I knew that's who you were back then, but it was just so different from who you are now. That's why I'm just, like, I was just taken aback. It was like, huh.
I'm a different fucking person.
Yeah, I was just like, why would she just say that out of nowhere? But you know what?
Different. That's who I was. I was a rude ass bitch. That's the theme.
I know. I was a rude ass bitch. Who was a rude ass bitch?
True life. I was a rude ass bitch. But it's kind of crazy wow, it's so crazy how like you really don't see yourself physically, right? Because in the beginning I was talking about how like you don't know
see
what you look like, but then in actuality it's the same in how you treat people. Sometimes you don't really know what you're doing until someone checks you for it, and someone says like, hey, that's not the way that you can treat me, and then you're like, oh shit, I can't treat you like that, but I treat everybody else like that.
Yeah.
So is there
it makes you wonder,
what is right, air quotes, and what is wrong, and what do I need to change?
Yes.
Damn.
And that's why it's so important to always have a community, to always talk to new people, because they will really give you new introspect in life, you know?
Yeah, and just being open-minded, you know? I think there are a lot of people who get their panties in a bunch.
Yeah.
I don't know what is up with me.
I know, this old school sayings.
I'm really fucking aging myself. Dude. I'm aging myself, but you know what? It's
authentic.
It's The Simpsons. I mean, it's the OJ, the people versus OJ Simpson.
It's The Simpsons. They're thinking like Homer and Bart.
No. Sarah Paulson, Marsha Gray, she's amazing. Yeah. But I noticed immediately in the first episode, she makes all these like remarks that I'm just like, that is some corny ass shit, and it's so funny to me because people don't talk like that. Yeah, especially what she was saying back then. You know, that's very dated. Anyways, because I'm watching The Simpsons, it's affecting now
her vocabulary. This is who she is now. She is Sarah.
People get their panties in a bunch. People are like being too PC, and they're being like too reading into it too much. It's like, oh, you can't take a joke anymore.
Yeah, you're sensitive.
You're too sensitive and things like that. Yeah. And it's like, some people just don't want to be treated a certain way.
I know. I was like, why don't you respect how they want to be treated?
If they don't want to be treated that way, you can't treat them that way. Yeah. And I have so much respect for that.
Right?
You know, it's like you should be able to put your foot down and be like, bitch, you ain't gonna talk to me no type of crazy way. So I don't know. I can't I don't know. Anyways, what?
Little side rant, real quick. And I think it's also important because, like, you know, we were talking about like getting perspective from other people. I think a lot of people like to self-reflect now, you know, and it's so hard because, like, I'm sure when you were at that age and I was at that age, we meant to do well. We meant to like want to just show our love, and we think we're doing it in the most progressive way at that moment, but you don't realize like, oh, you're still doing this. There's still some toxicity coming out because you just can't catch it all.
It's the fact that you chose the word toxicity that made me start thinking those behaviors, because it's like you're doing your best, but you're still being a toxic person.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just your best.
Yeah.
And then it leads me to think, is my best right now, is that person still toxic? Yeah. And who are they toxic to?
Yeah. That's something I always kind of like think about every once in a while because, like, you know, it's hard. It's hard while you're also just unpacking your own stuff, trying to heal your own things, and you think you're you're definitely progressing as people. We are, but at the end of the day, it seeps out sometimes. That's how I feel. Like, you know, I try my best not to be toxic, but sometimes I catch myself. It's like, was that hurtful? Was that good for that other person? It's hard to say. I don't know. And I think that you know, it's also like the other way around too. And I think that's why we try to practice like setting boundaries and stuff like that, because that's something I'm still definitely trying to work on, because I also want to honor myself and make sure that other people toxicity is not also coming back to me, you know? Or at least not let it affect my life. I don't know.
And then with that, it's what you just said there,
Mhm.
like not letting it affect your life. There's that wonder, is there a choice in that? It's like when you experience something toxic for you, do you have a choice in whether or not it affects you? Or will it always affect you?
I think people have a choice,
Mm-hmm.
and it really depends on how well they can handle things,
Mm.
how well or how much tools they have in order to handle it.
Mm.
You know, if they even have like the emotional capacity to, probably case by case. Because sometimes, like, you know, there's certain things that would trigger me, and then there's certain things that won't, even though it could be the exact same thing, and it's hard to say when it can't, and it's just all about, I don't know. I think that's just my firm belief that it's like I have power over it, because if I don't believe that, then it's harder, you know.
Going back to body image,
Yeah.
that is kind of an interesting segue to go off of, because your body image is based on not even an actual depiction of what you look like.
Yeah.
And that is very interesting, because there are some days where I hate the way I look, or I love the way I look, and it just can change so often. But what is that really based on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're basing it off of what you're looking at in the mirror, or like a picture. But again, we know that that is a distorted image.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, can you really base how you feel about the way you look on those things? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think most people do,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just,
I mean, that's easy, right?
Yeah.
It's if you make it simple, because that's a simple.
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I think usually I just kind of like always talk, because like I never really like what I see in the reflection.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very complex relationship with my image.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's, I don't know, it's difficult. I think I just usually just try to avoid looking at myself as much as
I
possible.
think I remember you telling me this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think we even like discussed about this too, like why I also feel very proud of myself getting this far off of our podcast, seeing our videos, watching our videos, because it's kind of built that tolerance of like me being comfortable with like.
Honestly, I can watch them now. And I'm like, I don't even
Right?
care. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me,
now I feel more like we should start marketing this soon, because it's
sure.
like I've
Why
seen
not?
myself like, fuck it. Yeah.
Why not? Might as well. Because what else are we doing this for?
Yeah.
Marketing.
I know. What were you saying?
Anyway. It's just that when there are days where I just don't feel good with what I see, I just try to remind myself it's gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just probably in my head, like I'm just feeding myself like negative thoughts of my body image. So you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
What I've been doing lately with changing that, because I do also have those moments where it's like, oh, I hate looking at myself, is I close my eyes and I feel my body.
Oh.
And so my body image is mostly related to like what's on the inside.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds really stupid because you're talking about image, you know, it's a visual.
It's a visual
right?
thing, yeah.
But
it's a physical being.
It's on the physical side, but it's like I'm kind of letting go of, because what is it really when you are unhappy with what you look like?
Yeah.
What that means is when you look at your reflection, you're finding things wrong about yourself. That is why you don't like what you see. But looking at yourself and saying, like, I look wrong, what the fuck are you supposed to look like?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like then you are meaning to say there is a right way for you to look, and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm coming to terms with this idea of like looking like a certain type of person, but it's like, what the fuck is wrong with what I look like now? If this is what I look like now, I should be enough for the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I have those days where I feel like I hate the way I look, I just close my eyes and I just feel my body, and it feels good inside. And so because of that, it's really helped with my body image.
Yeah.
Because I have a tendency, my weight fluctuates a lot. I can gain weight really easily, but I can also lose weight very easily. So because of the fluctuation, I have certain pieces of clothing that I like to wear if I'm bigger. Is like I'll wear these things typically, and then if I'm smaller, then I'll wear these things typically. Like literally in my closet, I have pants that go from size 4 to 12.
Yeah.
Because that's how much I can range.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's also that piece. Were you gonna say something?
No, I was gonna scratch my nose.
Oh.
It's okay, you can finish your thought.
That's it. Yeah.
I think that's it for me too. I think another thing why I had like a dip with just how I, just from having like negative body image is because for a while I also just stopped like going shopping because I'm broke. So I still have clothes that are just like size small, and they make me feel like shit because they don't fit me anymore. So I started to realize too that just having clothes that fit right makes me feel better, because then I'm not like shackled into like my past self. Which is like, it makes sense why you have clothes that ranges, because you're not just a singular body type for like the rest of your life,
Exactly.
And that didn't really like hit me.
And there's no right or wrong.
Yeah. It's just what your body weight is. But I just didn't understand that because I was always like a small. So it's just like, I can't buy new clothes, blah, 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 blah. But since I can afford some clothes now and I wear like the right piece of clothing, it just makes me not feel as horrible. It's just like, this is right. I feel good. And the reason I feel good is because I also kind of look good because I'm not forcing myself to fit a certain thing.
And that has a lot of that type of thinking is coming from a lot of like cultural influence. Yeah. I remember growing up, I got a little chunky when I was like a baby, and then I got skinny, and I was a fairly like thin. No, I wasn't like skeleton type of thin, but I was like a thin child. Yeah. And my sister was not. My sister was on the chubbier side. And it wasn't until she went into like 7th grade, 8th grade, where she lost a lot of weight. And then in high school, she just started to like really slim down. And then like college, and then towards the end of her college years, she was a very, very thin person. And I remember that topic being brought up a lot, is just the way that our family saw her, like that journey of being like a chunky child to being a very like thin person. And I always looked at that and wondered, well, I wonder what it is that they see for me, because I've gone in the opposite direction. Like I was like a thin child, and then, I'm not the same size that I was like when I was like in high school, middle school.
10,
yeah,
12.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I was a way smaller person, but I remember like my stepmom, or like never really my mom. I think my mom, the only time my mom made a comment was when I was muscular in my legs. My legs were thick because I was lifting heavy. And I remember my mom looking at my legs. I remember I was like squatting my little sister. And I was like doing squat jumps with her, and like she was having fun. And then my mom was like, she was nervous. She was like, "Oh my gosh, like don't drop, like don't fall, like are you sure you can do this?" And I was like, "Mom, come on." She's like, she's tiny.
She's
like
a baby.
I'm lifting things heavier than me.
Yeah.
I'm lifting things like almost 3 times my weight.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't worry. Like
you got it.
I can lift her. And she's like, oh my gosh, like that's so heavy. Like I was like, yeah, have you seen my legs?
Yeah.
You know, this is so fun. Yeah, these are yeah, exactly. You know, these are muscles. And she's like, yeah, they're too much. Yeah. And I was like, too much?
Yeah.
What do you mean? She's like, yeah, you used to have such nice thin legs, like blah blah blah. And I was like, first off, I never thought I did. My whole life, I never in my mind thought I had thin legs.
Yeah.
But again, you don't know what the fuck you look like, right? Yeah. Anyways, I went everywhere with that. I think what I was just trying to say is that it's really just about how you feel. You know, it's like, why don't we prioritize that?
Yeah.
As long as you are healthy and you feel good and you're able to function, whatever.
That should be the priority. And it's funny because, you know, it's a lot of people feel that because I see this meme going around a lot where it says like, it's basically reminiscing like how they feel fat back in the day, but no one told them that that's actually the skinniest they'll ever be.
I just saw a meme today about that. The girl was like, oh, I can't believe in high school I thought I was fat. Little did I know that was the skinniest I'd ever be. Sheesh.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, it's because, again, it's as you said, we prioritize like just like the physical thing, so we get caught up.
What we see, which is a distorted visual, right? Like Micah was here, she looked at my mirror, and my mirror is weird, so it makes you look bigger. And she saw herself in my mirror, and she was like freaking out because she's like, oh my god, I look like a potato in this dress. And I was like, no dude, it's the mirror, it's not you.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy.
That could be every mirror.
It's
you know what I mean? What mirror is the most accurate?
Yeah. It's so funny because after that day that we had that conversation about the mirrors, I actually went around all of our mirrors and looked at all the mirrors because then, like, you know, I was going to Vegas that weekend and I was trying on clothes and the mirror I was like looking at, I'm like, oh my freaking god, like this is horrendous. I freaking hate this. And then I was like,
but you're basing it off of what you're looking at.
Exactly. So then that's when I went to all the mirrors and I did this just so like I feel like I'm not as crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you guys, just own that body.
Honestly. And I saw some pictures when I went to the wedding. And yeah, I did not like the way that I looked in the pictures because it's just bigger than what I'm normally like have seen in other pictures of myself. And so to me, it's like, is that really me? You know what I mean? And maybe that's where the discomfort lies and why I don't like those pictures. But it's like,
it always takes me aback. It's kind of like that photo of Demi Lovato where it's her very unpleasant photo. And then there's another photo at the exact same moment and she is like gorgeous. So people are just like, I can't believe this is from like the same thing
same day,
at the same
person,
place.
Same place, same event.
Yeah. So it's like, really, you cannot trust anything.
I know. I remember... because my mom's always been very self-conscious. And that's actually where it always comes from. Is how self-conscious you are is passed down by... not passed down literally, but you learn that type of thinking from your parents. And girls get it from their moms and so on and so forth. And my mom being very self-conscious about the way she looks... I remember seeing her sometime like last year and she was making a comment about like, oh, over the holidays we've been eating so much and blah, 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 you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas food and whatever, and how she's packed on pounds and whatever. And I just told her like straight up, like, you don't look any bigger.
Yeah.
Like, what you are seeing and what you are saying is very different from what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her facial expression was like, wow, I've never heard that before. It's like,
Aww.
what?
She's probably like the same most of her life.
I mean, no, but in what she was talking about, I'm not gonna say it, but specifically what she was talking about, you know, yeah, I was just like, no, dude, like, no. If you're talking purely off of like what we were visually seeing, like, that's not what I'm seeing. But also, we all see things differently.
We do.
That's the interesting part.
Yeah.
So it's really like, fuck body image, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how you see it, like how you see Jackie and how I see Jackie is going to be different.
Different.
Our eyes are also different.
I know. That's
and then
crazy.
How we interpret it.
And you're always going to be influenced by, like, your own experiences.
Yes.
You know? I remember you said something to me before back in high school, how, like, people just kind of becomes their personality, you know? And how people usually kind of get prettier as you get to know them.
Yeah.
Or they get uglier as whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it could also be affected by that because we like them so much. So therefore, your opinions literally shape your perception.
Yes. Yeah. People get prettier when you like their personality, or if they have a shitty personality, you're like, ew, they're fucking ugly.
That guy is hideous.
Or if they hook up with someone, all of a sudden they're not attractive anymore. They're like
gross.
They were like a 10 to me, now they're like a 5.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's so interesting.
And you know what? So when Micah moved from California to Texas, they were saying, like, you know, she was a skinny girl and she packed on some pounds living in Texas and eating food from Texas. It's the South. So when she got bigger in Texas, the weight that she had gained is seen as normal. They're looking at her like that is a normal body type, and because that, you know, everything's bigger in Texas. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. But in California standards, it's going to be looked at as like, I always felt like in high school I was huge because I just thought I was. I just thought I was a huge person. Not
obviously not.
Obviously not huge. You know what I mean? We're not talking about like my 600-pound life. We're talking about like
you weren't. Yeah, because I was huge.
I thought I just had this idea that I was bigger. Yeah. And I even remember buying like clothes that were, now that I think about it, were too big for me. Like I would buy shirts that were medium, but I was not a medium. Yeah. Like I think about it now and I'm like, no, like this is actually a small. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I was smaller then. So it's like, what?
Just the perception.
What the fuck was I thinking? And then I moved to the East Coast where everyone in my group of friends in the beginning were like 6 feet tall and bigger and like, you know, maybe 200 pounds. You know, they're big people or bigger than me. They looked at me as like a small person. Yeah. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? You're tiny. You're tiny. And I'm like, No. My world. I wear size medium. Like, what are you talking about? I can't be small because I wear this shirt. You see, it says M, so I must be a medium-sized person.
And that's so funny because medium is still pretty small. Oh man!
You know. But is it really that small? If small exists and extra small and extra small, you know what I mean? It's all perspective. Like, it's all your surroundings. So it's like, just go look inward. What does it feel like to you? You know? And
I hope it feels good. I hope you feel good.
And isn't that the way it should be?
It should be, but
even
it's not universal.
Even if there are things that people would prefer, I guess there's also that part of like preference. Because I remember there was a TikTok and somebody was saying like, oh, if you are trying to change your body to be a certain way or trying to make yourself skinnier or whatever, it is in a sense fat phobic. And it cuts to the girl and she's like, if I have a preference for what I want my body to look like, that's not fat phobic. It just means I want to look a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care if anyone else is fat. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I want to look a certain way.
Yeah.
So I do also understand that piece of like, okay, if you have a preference to want to look a certain way, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess there's just that piece of taking it to a level where if you don't look that way, then what happens?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
What if the way that you would prefer yourself to look like is not even accomplishable for you?
Exactly.
Right? That's where surgery comes in. I wish that's a whole other thing. Okay, this one, I watched a video on YouTube and I already kind of talked to you about it, and I think I was like, you have to watch this. I might even play it for you later because I want to see your reaction. But the point of the video is this girl going on a journey to be okay with her vagina, with her vulva, more specifically, because the fastest growing cosmetic procedure is a alteration to the labia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is the fastest growing cosmetic surgery. Yeah. And yeah, basically I don't remember the specific numbers off the video, but there is actually more than half of women have I believe it's the inner labia. Mm-hmm. It is longer than a specific centimeter count. I don't remember the centimeter count. Yeah. Because there's actually a very big range. Because, I mean, vulvas and vaginas are very different. Yeah. You know, it's like it's unique. It's your stuff, you know? And so with the video talking about women going in and basically trimming it down. And trimming it down. And they brought in surgeons, doctors, to interview for the video. And there were 2 that performed that cosmetic procedure. And, you know, you have girls as young as 9 years old coming in. Yeah. You have women, obviously women, older women. Yeah. But the doctor talked about how the youngest she'd ever performed personally was on a 15-year-old, and that the reasoning for someone to do that, other than like looks wise, they were talking about how it could be uncomfortable for them. You know, maybe they could sense some kind of discomfort, maybe in their like jeans or like, you know, things like that. And yeah, I mean, you'll see the video when I play it for you, but they also included a professional who deals with. We should do her thing. Yeah, it's in LA. Like she does a whole weekend for women, and it's like a whole experience where you really like live up on yourself. Aww. I think it's really cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she actually brought that up in one of her meetings, and she talked about how when she first heard about the increasing popularity of that type of procedure. Oh, it was from a doctor who was bragging about their program. They're like, oh, yeah, my program is doing so great. You know, people are really liking my program. We've had a lot of success with, you know, I forgot the actual term, surgery, but altering the labia. And she was like, oh, you know, can you tell me about that? And he's describing it to her. They're at this conference, and she goes, you know, what is the reason? Like, why would women or girls want to conduct that procedure? They're like, oh, well, same thing as the other doctors. They're like, well, they can sense discomfort if they're wearing, like, you know, tight blue jeans or blah, blah, blah. Like, it could be uncomfortable for them. And that's why. And she's like, huh. She's like, okay, so is it common then if, like, a man has a large member, you know, and he can't fit in his tight blue jeans, and we just cut part of his penis off?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, wear different fucking clothes. You know?
Yeah.
That, like,
there has to be other ways.
and I just think it's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Body image. Like, that is also included in body image. The way that you see your private parts.
Yeah.
Wow, that also too.
Yeah. I remember I used to get like really embarrassed about like the crevices of my bodies, like the underarms and like the bikini area, just because they get like darker.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so embarrassing for me. It was just like, no, it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like smooth and light. You know, you're supposed to be flawless.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also like part of like the body image. Like, but why?
But that term, that flawless term, you're ascribing what a flawless person should look like. You know what I mean? And why is that what you believe is flawless?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the pigmentation, I know what you're talking about, right? Like the pigmentation in the crevices, like that's very normal.
Yeah.
And so why is that something to be embarrassed about?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's normal. It's beautiful. Why isn't it considered beautiful?
The perpetuation from
all these
media.
Beliefs from outdated.
Yeah.
Outdated. Sometimes we gotta do away with a lot of things.
Yeah. And that's why I really love like the new campaigns, because I know now like women are not as embarrassed with their underarm hair. Where hair is not supposed to be, quote unquote, you know. So I'm really loving those. I'm loving like the diversity of bodies that we're seeing right now, because again, we're all different.
Yeah, we should do a sex episode again.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think that's also tied into a lot of what we're talking about. But body image, the way we see ourselves. Body image. What an interesting term.
Right?
The image of our body. We should all just be robots. Fuck it.
Boop, 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 boop.
We should just be like androids.
Just plug me in the cloud, bro.
You know what I mean? We should just be avatars living in the virtual world.
I know.
How
and that's really, you're gonna have the ideal body that you want, quote unquote.
And we wouldn't really contract any diseases. Wouldn't that be cool if you just like, you put on a helmet and you show up to this virtual world, but it's like your body, but like it's kind of like blurred lines, you know? It's not as like it's pixelated. Yeah, it's like pixelated versions of you, and you're just like hanging out. I come over, see you and Jackie. What's up, guys?
It's like, Yzel, is that you?
Bitch, you know what I look like. You know what I look like. Don't play me.
You remember me? You said sup.
You remember me? I texted you. I'm coming over. Yeah.
Sorry, I look like a hobo today.
Fuck it. Fuck body image. If you want to look like a hobo, look like a hobo. Fuck it. There's nothing wrong with it. Obviously, I still hung out with you.
I know. I know it's through love. I felt it, obviously. That's why when Jackie didn't think about it as a compliment, I was like, what?
I gotta show her the video.
And then he's like, both of you guys are fucked up, if anything.
Hey, that's facts. That is, I can't argue with that. That's logical. Yeah. You know, what is fucked up though? Let's unpack that. Jack would be rolling his fucking eyes like, no, you're just fucked up. That's it. Point blank, period.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, like there's nothing to unpack. That's it. Did your mom, I mean, I can cut this out if this is too personal, but did your mom ever display any insecurities about her appearance? Like, because I know you've said she's made comments to you about how you look, but did she ever look in a mirror or say things about the way she looked?
Yeah. She is highly insecure about like certain parts of her body. And like she would comment on like, oh, that's so cute, like, or we're going shopping together, and she'll say like, that's such a cute piece of clothing, and I'm like, get it. And then she's like, no, it's not gonna look good on me because of this and this and this. And I'm just like, how do you know? Try it on first. Maybe like as soon as you put it on, like you like it, because sometimes I think that too, like, you see a piece of clothing and you're like, oh, I can't pull that off. You try it on and you're like,
it.
Yeah, and then you're like, you know what? Actually, this looks good. Or sometimes you think, oh, wow, this looks good. I can pull that off. And then you put it on and it's like, never mind. So, but every time she never does. She just like sticks to like the clothing that she wears usually because it's comfortable for her because of her insecurities.
Maybe it's just about finding the things you love about yourself and looking for clothing that accentuate the things you love.
Oh.
Right? Instead of looking at clothing and being like, oh, it's not going to look good, it's just reframing that and saying, oh, it doesn't highlight what I love about myself, so I'm not going to wear that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it might not highlight my favorite parts.
Yeah.
But even changing the way we say things can really affect your psyche.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Because then you're not really beating down on yourself. You're actually praising yourself. Like, hey, I have shit I love. And I want to make sure that is focused on. You know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is true because
That's
I do tend to like... I do tend to go for those like clothing. The ones that... It's like, you know what? I like these parts of my body, so let's make sure that those are highlighted. So those become like my favorite clothes.
Exactly, because it's like, it's showing off my forearm real nice. It's actually a sweater. And leggings. I really love this part of my body, and I want to show it off.
And that's why I love wearing my mask outdoors, because it hides the face.
What up? I know, I am not an anti-masker. I love it.
It's gonna be a staple for me even
I actually love my eyes. And
me too.
You love my eyes too? Thank you.
No, same. Both.
But I love the mask because it's like, look, it's accentuating my gaze. What up, no? But right.
This is where I live, baby. Look how cute I am.
You know what? Actually, the week of the wedding, getting ready, I remember I'm not wearing any makeup. I am getting ready, so I'm just like about to start putting shit on. But I remember looking at the mirror and being like, wow, I look so cute.
Yes.
And I remember asking, like, don't I look cute? And of course, everyone, because they're my friends, they're going to be like,
of course, hella cute.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, no, you look like a hobo.
And you know what? In the past, that was my way of showing endearment.
Yeah.
Because I never complimented.
Yeah.
Hell no. I was bringing people down.
Yeah.
I was the one making jokes and roasting people.
Yeah.
And rarely did I ever compliment, if ever. Very, very rarely I would throw a compliment around. And that's so crazy how much things have changed.
Yeah.
And I'm such a different fucking person.
Yeah, right?
It's blowing my mind. I know I've said that to people. Like I've told people, yeah, I'm such a different person from like who I was back then. But oh my god, it's kind of scaring me.
Especially when you have like things that
evidence.
Like you have like a vague idea of who you were.
Yeah.
And you know that you've grown because duh. But I've also went through that because like I was reading like my old journals and stuff like that, and it was just so cringe. And I was just like, exactly. So the fact that you get to reflect upon that, and you're like, wow, I love her, but I love me too now.
Shit, you know what? That's kind of crazy. And I've had my family shook over the years because I know there are certain ways in which I'll behave that I can pinpoint moments and situations where they'll look at me different and they'll be like, this bitch is different. Yeah.
Girl.
Who the fuck is this bitch? You know? And yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Does your mom or does she, like, if you'll say something different, will she look at you like?
Yeah. That's why I know, like, there's just something that happened, like, during college time that we just both appreciate. She's just like, I don't know who you are, but I'm glad you're my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not saying those words, but I'm feeling it.
Because and I think what I want to say is we are so different from them now. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of who we were, it was just them. Mm-hmm. Because, I can imagine if I had a kid and they acted just like me as a child, right? And in high school and, like, you're going to look at them like, damn, I'm arguing with me. That's probably how my mom felt. She's like, I'm fucking arguing with myself.
Yeah.
Because I was a lot like my mom.
Yeah.
And then coming back years down the line after college, coming into adulthood and having new conversations and maybe same conversations, but just differently.
Yeah.
Then they're like, damn, you're not me anymore.
Yeah.
What a fucking trip.
It's a trip. And I think usually, too, before my initial instincts, maybe because I spent so much time just, like, being around her, but my initial response would just to, like, resist her, because maybe I needed space or whatever. Mm-hmm. I needed some growing up to do. And then by the time I come back, it's like, I'm receptive to what she's saying and whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm understanding where she's coming from. She's understanding where I'm coming from. And it's just like, I could see it in her eyes, just like, wow, we are two different people. We're just having conversations now.
Yeah. I'm not having to deal with the back talk of me. Yeah. Basically.
Because, like, I just felt like, maybe now she gets to be her own person. Because, like, before, she just maybe was just a mother. She just had to mother me. Mm-hmm. And now it's just like, we could talk about whatever she wants to talk about. Because I could see that exact same conversation right now happening between her and my sister. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I hung out with them all weekend last week. And I loved it. But at the same time, when the three of us hang out, I'm just like, Mom, you're being a little overbearing. And you're being like a brat. Like, you guys need to stop communicating like this. Because it's exhausting for me.
Triggering, huh? Triggering.
Yeah.
Honestly, kind of the same when I hang out with Mom and Sam, my little sister. It's crazy because I'm getting a visual of my mom's parenting. And it's just like triggering because there are certain things I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's the way that who am I to say, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't really tell her what to do because at the end of the day, she's the mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so weird to see those interactions.
Yeah. Body image. It's just our body image is just a reflection of our parents.
Oh, yeah.
Vice versa.
Absolutely. Wow. And so when you look at yourself and you think of what's wrong, you're really thinking of, like, what they think is wrong.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, well, my mom will always ask me, like, she always cares about my weight and stuff like that. And then she's like, when I was your age, I didn't look like that. It's always that's her comment. It's always, like, a comparison to who she was at that age. And it's just, like, insane,
When I was that age, wow, my mom's never said that. That's kind of crazy. What do you say when she says things like that?
I think I usually just, like, ignore her or I just, like, make fun of her. I think that's always how I deflected to try and, like, because I try not to let it get it under my skin because she's said it, like, so many times now. Mm-hmm. So to me, I was just like, well, I'm not you. Mm-hmm. I don't live in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. Probably malnourished.
Oh, damn.
I know, right? No, I'm just kidding. I didn't say those,
but you know what?
Probably.
That's interesting to know because to sit there and tell somebody they look wrong. Mm-hmm. Wow, like that's actually tripping me up right now.
Right?
To sit there and tell somebody you look wrong.
Right? It's a trip. I think for her, it's like she probably is just trying to use like personal anecdotes, to try and like make her case. It's just like, oh, you're gaining weight. Like, you should lose some because when I was your age, I wasn't that. When it's like, okay, I don't know what to say to that.
What a fucking... My mind is being blown. Because actually, I don't talk about this.
Yeah.
Body image. How often do you have thoughts about the way you look?
Depends. I think usually when there's like an event about to happen, I probably think about it more because, like, my birthday's coming up soon. I'm turning 30. So I would say I'm thinking about it a lot more because I'm thinking, like, oh, what am I going to wear? What are the activities? And, like, how I look at the moment because I'm reflecting on just myself in general. So I feel like this month I've been thinking about it quite a lot, actually. Yeah, quite a lot lately.
Yeah, so to be thinking about that as often as we could be potentially thinking about it, I don't know, that's so weird. It occupies so much of your mind,
I know,
basically.
it's exhausting.
So to be thinking about it in like maybe a negative way, it just is... Why would you put yourself through that?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you put yourself through that type of agony?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's blowing my mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is a topic that we will revisit again.
Again.
I would like to talk about it because now that it's like we've opened a can of worms,
there's a lot more.
There's a lot more I'm thinking about because all of these thoughts going off. I gotta journal it, and then I'm gonna develop more thoughts about it because I've never actually spoken these words out loud.
It's very selected few.
Yeah, very.
AKA Jackie.
Really, I've never talked about body image in this way to this degree. Yeah. So, definitely we will revisit this topic. If you enjoyed this topic and hearing about it, or if you have opinions and you want to send stuff in, if you want to share personal stories, email us. You can also share this episode with any of your friends and family. We can discuss it together. Oh, yeah, our email is twoperfectpodcast@gmail.com. I know I say it all the time, but just in case. Also, I just hope you're loving yourself and being authentically and genuinely yourself and being in love with that.
Yeah.
But that's it. We will catch you next Tuesday. And yeah, peace out.